We've all heard it. Daddy Longlegs are the most venomous spider. Their fangs are just too short to penetrate human skin, don't you know? This fact has been passed around for generations as the cold, hard truth. In reality, the adage is false, through and through. Well, almost. First off, we need to figure out what kind of creature we are referring to by the term daddy long-legged spider. There are two different arachnids known by that moniker. Members of the order Opleonids, and in the family Ulcidae. I somehow mispronounced it the entire video, so now you get voiceovers. You're welcome. Now, I grew up calling these guys daddy longlegs. They are members of the arachnid order Opleonids, otherwise known as harvestmen, and they're quite friendly arachnids. Oh, and they aren't spiders. Nope. Heck, we're not even sure if they're that closely related to them in the grand scheme of arachnida. Phylogenetic studies have put them closer to scorpions and pseudoscorpions, which look a lot like tailless scorpions, but molecular studies do group them with the spiders and other select groups of arachnids. What makes harvestmen not spiders, I hear you asking? Aside from, scientists saying so. The most obvious difference is their bodies. Just compare a harvestman with a true spider. In a spider, there's a clear distinction between the cephalothorax and the opisthoma, which are fancy words for the combined head and thorax and the abdomen. These regions are separated by a thin waist, the pedicel. Harvestmen, on the other hand, have a roughly oval body shape, and the distinction between body regions is not apparent with only a cursory examination. Additionally, most harvestmen only have a single pair of eyes. Spiders can, and usually do, have many more. Aside from not being spiders, the biggest issue with the harvestmen being our mythical culprit is their lack of venom or any way to really bite humans. Spiders famously have chelicerae, the fancy words for the paired structures just in front of an arachnid or related creature's mouth, adorned with fangs and venom glands. The chelicerae of harvestmen are small claw-like structures used to chew up food, and they completely lack venom glands. Some harvestmen do produce defensive chemicals that they can secrete to ward off predators, but they do not deliver these through a bite. The closest thing that they have that could pinch a person would be some species' defensive spines, or maybe their spiked pedipalps, though the latter are usually pretty weak. And yes, the pictures you're seeing on screen right now, those are harvestmen. These guys get real weird in the tropics. Actually, harvestmen normally hunt small, weak-bodied prey, if they hunt at all. They're omnivores, so they'll eat anything from worms and small arthropods to fungi and even fallen fruit. Unusually for an arachnid, they can consume solid matter instead of pre-digesting it first, though this means they are restricted to consuming food that is soft enough to tear chunks off of, with their pedipalps and chelicerae. I've personally seen one eating popcorn, so that was cool. They're pretty delicate, so they don't really tangle with large animals like humans. Well, what about the Ulcidae, then? Are they spiders? Yes, actually. You might also call them cellar spiders, as that is a place you will often find them. They are found all over the world, with many species now being widespread due to human movements. They're responsible for a lot of the cobwebs you'll find in disused parts of your house, but just because their webs look messy and weak doesn't mean they're ineffective hunters. In fact, these guys actually take down surprisingly large prey, even deadly species like black widows and bark scorpions. If they can do that, then surely they've got some pretty mean venom in their fangs, right? Well, I hate to disappoint. As you can see here, I'm handling this one barehanded, and I'm in no danger. To start, just because venom is deadly to cellar spiders' prey does not mean that effect will transfer to humans. For example, I have a pet Honduran curly-haired tarantula. Her venom very much is deadly to even large insect prey, and she could probably take out a small rodent if I presented her with one. Don't worry, I would never do that. I had trouble sacrificing cockroaches to Her Majesty. If she were to bite me, though, the effect would not be any more severe than a wasp sting. It's sort of like how I can eat all of the chocolate I want and only have to worry about tooth decay and diabetes. But my dog, he would die if he ate enough. Toxins are weird like that. If you want a more specific breakdown, the venom of one fulcid species, Physocyclus mexicanus, which seems to be the only fulcid species to date that has had its venom analyzed, was found to contain several peptidases, enzymes that inactivate peptides, short chains of amino acid, including nepriocin and an astaxin-like metalloprotease. These compounds generally function to help degrade extracellular matrices and other barriers to assist in the spread of venom. And though these compounds are very effective against our arthropod prey, the same cannot be said about humans. That's right, the second part of the myth, those tiny fangs, that's false too. It is true that these guys have really, really tiny fangs. They actually sort of look like pincers if you look real close, because of the additional projections on their chelicerae. Arachnologists refer to fangs like this as uncate chelicerae, and these are actually something you will see on one very infamous, medically significant spider genus, Loxosceles. You might be more familiar with one spider in this genus, Loxosceles reclusa, the humble brown recluse spider. Clearly, recluse spiders can and do bite humans. And the same is true with cellar spiders. That study on the venom of P. mexicanus noted that people at the site where the sampling of spiders was conducted are routinely bitten when they disturb these spiders during their normal activities. Apparently, they've just got the things hanging around everywhere, but since that place is called Spider Farm, and they literally specialize in spider rearing and venom collection, having spiders everywhere isn't surprising. I so want to work there. And holy crap, I can technically buy Black Widow venom from their site. It's way cheaper for me to just go find my own widows to play with, but crap man, the game has changed. Anyways, most reported bites were from male spiders. Interestingly enough, much of the venom sampled for the study was also obtained from male specimens. The females sorta kept throwing up into their samples, so a lot of them got disqualified. This could indicate that males of this species have differing morphology or temperamental states to females. There was a bite reported that gave rise to a tiny blackened wound on the back of someone's neck, but this was determined by a dermatologist to be the body reacting to the injection of foreign proteins, not any severe reaction like you would see in, say, recluse spiders. On that note, perhaps I should mention that both of the main compounds found in fulcid venom, nepriocin and acetin-like metalloprotease, have both been identified in, or had homologs found in, the venom of Loxosceles species. These two groups are even placed within the same clade, Synspermiata, based on the shared morphology of the female spider's genitalia. 'Cause that's how we organize spiders, baby. This means that they likely share a common ancestor, though they probably aren't very closely related. Want further proof of the innocence of fulcid or cellar spiders? If you've ever seen the show Mythbusters, a personal favorite of mine, they ran a segment about this very topic. Episode 13, the one where they were trying to find Jimmy Hoffa's grave in Giant Stadium. During that episode, host Adam Savage actually gets bitten on camera by a male spider after shoving his entire arm into a container absolutely filled with cellar spiders. It took an extended period for him to be bitten, but it did happen. If you watched the behavior of the spiders around that time, many of the males, distinguished by their engorged pedipalps, are fighting. They've all been shoved into one tiny box, so fighting makes sense. But Adam's bite came when he was close to a pair of fighting males. Adam Savage clearly survived that little adventure, and he even hosts a YouTube channel of his own nowadays. Tested. Go check it out for some nostalgia. So, there we have it. The myth of the daddy longlegs is crap. Can we just talk about that name for a moment, though? Daddy Longlegs. It sounds like a name you would give to some cruddy horror villain. Like Slenderman's off-brand cousin. Oh, and the moniker Daddy Longlegs? That can also refer to these. I'd never heard that one before I began using the internet and communicating with others, but I guess it's a non-US thing? We always called them mosquito hawks here. They aren't mosquitoes, despite their appearance. They are flies, members of the family Tepulidae, and they're more properly called crane flies. Wikipedia tells me that several plants are also known as daddy longlegs, but I'm not touching those with a 10-foot pole. This video has gone on for long enough, and I'm done. Thanks for exploring Planet Arthropoda with me. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Do you have any questions about other spiders or arthropods in general that you would like answers to? Leave them in the comments below. Subscribe to explore the wonderful world of our arthropod overlords with me. Until next time, peace.